Mies. Hello, Mies.
Yes.
Hello, Mies.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, and you?
I'm doing quite well. What country are you from?
France.
France. Awesome.
Yes.
You guys think you're gonna get an Overwatch League team next year?
I hope so. Paris, maybe.
Yeah, Paris has got to be one of the cities that if not season two, it's got it. Like, I forget. Is it Eagle Gaming, the French?
Yes, there is. Yeah, yeah.
So do they have a team
Some
right now?
rogues. There are some old rogues in Eagle Gaming, like Nico and other people.
So are you cheering for like Dallas Fuel until Paris gets the team, or who are you cheering for in
Um,
the Overwatch League?
I'm cheering for Valiant and Fuel. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Oh shit! It's actually is Fuel Arrow. Nice. Okay, he tweeted out the confirmation. Dope. Nice. Good to see you, Arrow. Nice to know it's actually you. Okay. So we're looking at your Zenyatta VOD today. First off, apologize for the delay. You had originally scheduled this for like last Saturday, right?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
okay.
I was just not feeling very well Saturday, so better
Yeah.
better late than never though. So tell me about this Zenyatta VOD and why you picked this one. Are you a Zenyatta main? Are you just trying to learn Zenyatta? Let me know a bit about
Um,
you.
yeah. I played a lot of Anna first. Because I feel I can't play DPS, like my mechanics are not that good. Maybe I can handle support more. And I like Zenyatta very much because I think he can carry more than Ana.
Yeah, Zenyatta is
Um,
definitely a carry hero. Of the supports, he's for as many seasons as I can remember, he is a carry in solo queue as well as a carry in competitive play because of his ability to increase the effectiveness of his team. Discord, all the team going onto a single discorded target, it makes your team better. If there's an
yeah,
isolated 1v1 happening, like two tracers are fighting, one is discorded, one in harmony, well, you can kind of guess who's going to win. So you can kind of tilt 1v1 matchups in your favor. You can frag yourself. 120 damage headshots are nothing to be frowned upon, as well
mm,
as the defensive support ult, doing a great job to just completely destroy win conditions, kill pushes, prevent team wipes, that fun thing. So
yeah.
you are not wrong there. I heard
Mm.
your Fusion Academy interview with Jayne 2 weeks back, Arrow, and was thinking the whole time, man, it would be great to have him as field coach. Well, hey, you got your wish, Wanted. You got your wish. You got your wish. Okay, so we are looking at a Diamond Zenyatta. So in your
I think you're looking at the wrong VOD because I know I suggested to use the one I linked in the Discord directly.
do you want to just DM that to me?
I already did. It's at the top of our discussion.
Okay, so the VOD you initially submitted was Diamond, but this one's Masters. So we're actually looking at a
Yes.
Masters Zenyatta. Okay.
Yeah, like you
S-
said yesterday, it was the first time on Master, and I'm very proud. But I'm back
Oh, so
in
this
Diamond
is
now.
you've hit Masters for the very first time.
Yes, yes,
Well,
yes,
congratulations.
yes. Thank you.
What change did you make to make the jump from Diamond to Masters to Zenyatta? What about your play did you change up?
I guess it was a lot about the ult usage. Like think ahead of the action helped a lot. Call the Discord, be more vocal.
Now you do
Um,
play on the European server, right?
yes, yes.
So a lot of the Europeans who I do review here, um, they talk about how toxic communication is in the European server, how challenging it can be communicating based on different languages and different accents,
Mm,
and if you
yeah.
don't have any problems with communication, it's probably because nobody's on comms, nobody's talking. Is that your experience as well? Like, especially in Diamond and Masters, how have you found the communication on the European server?
It's more like based on short call,
Mm-hmm.
like top right, top left, because we can't really explain the advanced concept in English,
Mm-hmm.
because we have so many countries and different languages. So yeah, it's very short calls, like much behind.
Yeah, so
Something like
it's
that.
it's
We
the
cannot
it's the
go.
character where they are, like a cooldown
Yeah,
maybe, but very, very simple stuff.
basically. Yeah,
No
yeah.
complex planning or anything like that, which is
No, no.
honestly not that different from North American comms. Like until you get to like mid GM and higher, you're not going to have any detailed plans. And even in the mid GM plus games, like most of the people just kind of act on instinct, and even those people in solo queue, it's it's kind of weird. The game, as you climb up towards Master, starts emulating the actual like competitive 6v6 mode closer and closer and closer and closer. But then actually, once you get to the highest levels of stuff, there's really quite the divergence. Where in order to become the best 6v6 team, they have to work on completely different things than becoming the best solo queuer. So,
Hmm.
like what you're talking about is very much how communication will persist up into the highest echelons of the ladder.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I like it a lot. It's way more fun to have good communication.
awesome. So let's let this play and kind of take a look at what composition your team is gonna show us today. So you're
Sure.
insta locking Zen. Are you like one
Yeah.
tricking Zen this season? Are you,
No, I'm playing Mercy a lot. I mean, not a lot, but to feel.
hmm
Um,
Have you considered playing Brigida or
yeah, but I prefer to play another one.
nice? A man who knows what he wants. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your last guy gonna pick? If he picks, hopefully he picks a Winston. That would be the correct
Mhm.
choice here.
I don't remember.
We don't have a Brigida VOD yet, but Slayer Gramps and I think Guru are going to be helping us teach Brigida next week. So look for Brigida VODs next week. Chat wants to know why you have a Chinese name.
Yeah.
Like actual
It's
Twitch chat too wants to know.
yeah, I know. Because it's another account. Um, it's my practice account. It means practice in Japanese.
Oh, that's awesome.
Um, yeah, that's why I created it. Um, at first, I created it to release the pressure from playing only on one account.
That is a great way of doing it.
Yes.
It's amazing getting a second account. People who only have one account don't understand why other people have multiple accounts until they get their first account, and then they're like, "But I
Yeah.
could have another one to do this, and another one to do this, and another one to do this," and things get out of hand really fucking quickly. And it's one of the best ways for you kind of to detach yourself to the arbitrary number that is skill rating, right?
Yes.
Once you kind of get a second account, you realize that the skill rating on one account is not a definition of who you are as a person. It doesn't define your skill. It's where that character is at that moment. And if you play DPS and tanks, then the SR bands that you float in on DPS or tank are different. And once you've kind of detached yourself and your identity, or some people take SR and when they sit at a lower rank, and this actually happens to GMs as well. There's one individual who basically had a meltdown, um, probably about a month ago, because he was in GM and he's touched top 500 multiple times, and this is a guy who really wants to go pro and make it into the semi-pro scene and whatnot, and he would always kind of float in and around top 500 during the season, but he would never be able to finish in top 500. He would grind and grind and grind during the last week, put up all the win traders and the throwers and the toxicity and the last minute stress and the pressure, and then finally when he finished out of top 500 for like the third time, and this player is a fantastic player. He doesn't understand the macro play very well, but on like an individual competency level, very good, very good. And he had a kind of like a meltdown where he thought that his SR kind of devalued him as a person too, which was really, it happens more often than you would think. And personally, when I've gone on deranking sprees or anything like that, like lose 405 SR, it's really hard not to think along the lines of, was it really luck all along? You know, did I really deserve to be that rank back then? Am I washed up now? It's hard for people to kind of accept fluctuations in SR, but once you have the multiple accounts, you kind of just you detach yourself from that, and you can focus more on the game, and you just become less less pressured, I suppose, by what is at the end of the day an arbitrary number. So okay, so we are running Orisa, Roadhog, Mercy, Zenyatta, McCree, and Hanzo. What do you think about this composition? Do you hit tab? Do you have to go farther back?
Uh,
Okay.
Previously, I think.
Okay, so you've got you're playing Zenyatta here. Now you've got your
Mm-hmm.
Orisa and your Roadhog, Mercy,
Yeah.
McCree, Hanzo. What do you
Mm-hmm.
think of that composition?
I think it's very like everybody in the same spot. Like turtle. I need to get next to my McCree to be protected, and here I'm under the roof to not get dive,
Mm-hmm.
dove run, and yeah,
So what do you think
I
about
think it's okay. Or is roll.
what do you think
Roll.
about the Orisa and the Roadhog specifically?
I think it's a good duo because they can combo together with
Mm-hmm.
the hook and the halt. Um, yeah, I think it's
Now,
okay. Yeah.
so if they are running dive like a Winston Diva, is that good for you or bad for you?
For me, it's bad.
For your
Be-
tanks?
For me, it's bad.
Yeah, so for you, like you're a Zen, dive sucks because then you die if you're not protected. But if their tanks is Winston and Diva and they go into your Orisa Roadhog,
Yeah.
do your tanks have the advantage?
Yes.
Yes, they do. Okay, what if they're
Yeah.
running Orion Zarya? Do your tanks have the advantage?
Um, mm, I'm not sure. I know I don't
That's a
think so.
great answer. You're not sure because it depends. It
Yeah.
depends on positioning. It depends what else is happening
Yeah.
around the field and whatnot. So the
Here,
big
here
thing.
we have the high ground. So
So one of the first things you want to identify is how you are playing with your team based on how the tank lineup is matched. So if you are playing with like an Orisa and a Roadhog, neither of these tanks have mobility or the ability to actually like peel for you. So if the
hmm
opponent has a dive, one of the options in solo queue is to play a little bit closer because if they do manage to dive or flank you, it's unlike an Orisa Diva or a dive where you can counter dive or something like that. If the McCree can't protect you for some reason or he's not playing with the tanks himself, then you'll want to be your positioning will change here based on the lineup of the tanks. So if the
yeah.
opponent was running like a Reinhardt and a Zarya, something that doesn't have mobility and has to contest with your tanks, then you're going to be wanting to play at range, play the sight lines, pressure the shield, make sure that you're
hmm
safe if they don't have flankers and whatnot. So this is going to be the first thing that we have to kind of consider is how our tank lineup is going to go against their tank lineup. So if it's
hmm
dive, we want to make sure that our position is assisting the tanks in winning that fight. And if it's Zarya and Reinhardt, we can play a little bit farther back and get more value in a safer location. So what do you think about the McCree and the Hanzo? As
Hanzo is very strong right
Hanzo's
now,
very
so
strong, yes.
every team has one. As for McCree, I think it's okay against dive. Um, yeah, I think he can peel for me,
Yeah,
but
McCree can protect you. He can protect you against a flanker or a dive tank or something like that. Flashing a Winston, kiting him. You can
yeah.
do a whole bunch. You flash the flanker and threaten them with the flashbang. Whether you actually kill them or just threaten them with it, it forces them to
Mm,
disengage or play safe in a way that
mm,
it's very difficult for them to actually get a kill on you. But in terms of protection, you're going to be looking more for the McCree than the Hanzo. The Hanzo
yes.
has more mobility, so he can do flanks, he can do wall climbs, he can go places and do things that you can't. So if you are looking
Mm,
to pair yourself off with a DPS, you'd be looking to play more with your McCree. So, and of
yes.
course, then there's the Mercy, the thing that the person who can actually heal you up and save you is that she's
hmm
going to be wanting to play with the Hanzo mostly to get the damage boost.
Yeah.
So we kind of
Okay.
have the three different parts. We have the McCree, who we don't know how he's going to play. We'll have to see. We've got the tanks we're going to want a frontline, and then we've got a Hanzo who's going to probably either want to play with his frontline or probably taking slightly different angles on the left and right side. And Mercy's going to want a damage boost to get maximum value here. But so there's what I'm trying to get to. What I've been this entire session has been about is trying to get you to think about your composition and how you are going to have multiple different options with how to play with this team, and all
Mm-hmm.
of them are valid. Some of them will become more or less valid depending on what the opponent is running against you. But the first thing on Zenyatta that I always do when I queue into solo queue is I try and think about who am I going to play with to keep me alive and get the most value. So there's playstyles that will get you more value, but it's in a riskier position where you might get punished for it, or
Yeah.
you might act in a way where you can get more value, but your team can protect you less. So like here, for
Mm-hmm.
example, if you play too far back and you want your McCree to play with you, yes, you will be safe, but the McCree in turn will be getting less value. So enough of the theory, kind of like talking about where you would fit into this composition. Let's kind of play and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Your Harmony's on Mercy to start with. That's fine. McCree died. Could have called out no fade there.
On the top. Behind.
Me?
So what's going wrong here?
We get pushed a lot.
Yeah, let's go back. Let's watch this again.
Yeah.
So what was the main thing that went wrong for your team, and what was your mistake?
Um, the enemies just ignored us. They went straight to the point,
Yep, they did.
and we had to follow them, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And I was separated, so I went after my tank on point, and then I went very far back, and had less value.
That was a safer location. Like you didn't die. I must admit, it's pretty impressive that you were able to transition from Griffin through the chaos that was that fight, into arches and back out into second
Mm,
point. The Hanzo and you guys decided to play catch the scissors, and nobody won. But you,
yeah.
your rotation was dangerous, but it was successful, and you didn't get killed. So, no, basically, that's a really nice way of me saying no. You're wrong. Try again.
Yeah.
What was the main thing that went wrong for your team here?
Um, Lack of targets.
Maybe. Keep guessing.
Um,
Anything that comes to mind, just throw it out there.
Not enough kills.
Okay, let me pause it at one of the moments here. What's going wrong here?
There's a Maywall.
Nope. Well, yes. What went wrong here?
Hanzo is alone.
Not just Hanzo. Where's McCree?
Uh, since I don't see him, probably next to him.
I paused just a fraction of a second too early.
Oh no, he's left side. Okay.
So this is one of the this is a rotation, right? So we're in this initial position, and this initial position, it doesn't have a very good oversight onto the point, and we need to actually defend. So this position here is good. It gives good sight lines, but it doesn't actually assist us with attacking or defending the point. So here we have like our tanks kind of stuck up on this point, and then our DPS are trying to rotate backwards, and you're kind of like slow to the party. So the Orisa is already moving, and the Roadhog is up here on the ground. So you have to be aware of your retreats and your rotations here. So you're in Griffin. Now, you had the potential to kind of go down the stairs. So do you know Blizzard World very well?
Uh, yeah, yeah. I know there's a path down there that goes directly where I was.
Let's open Blizzard World. Do. I'll open up Overwatch and we'll talk about this. So Zenyatta has no mobility. He can't go faster. He can't wall climb. He has no vertical mobility or anything like that. So the three things that you always want to be paying attention to on Zenyatta is your route of retreat, your cover, and your health packs that are available to you. So this is kind of like the holy trinity of Zenyatta positioning. Uh, it's having a route of retreat or rotation. It doesn't have to be a retreat, but you have to have an ability to rotate to a different position. So especially if you're defending, if you're defending in a singular location and there are multiple options for where where the opponents are going to attack from, then you want to be able to rotate to your. So if they go left, you rotate right, sort of thing. So let's go to Blizzard World. Settings, maps, none. Blizzard World. Okay. Defend. Start. Let Zen walk. Say Hanzo. Apparently I say Hanzo with a D in it. I didn't know that. But.
True self is without form.
Okay, so health packs, cover, and retreats. Or rotations. Those are like the three main things you need to care about on Zenyatta. So we're holding up in this location. So we are on the high ground, which counts as cover. Now, high ground counts as cover because we can use the edge of the high ground as if it was a corner and just back away from it. You know, if we're being shot at by something and we're like, oh no, we can just be like, nope, no, you can't see me anymore. And just so this is fine for cover. Now, health packs, there's not really. There's a mini way the hell back there, but if we go to that mini, of course, if we're here and we go to the third thing on our list, our retreat, well, we're literally in a fucking corner, so we can't use that mini. Now, what you did here was drop here and rotate kind of in the open all the way back to arches. This is the positioning that you took here, right?
Yes.
Now, the alternative, of course, is if you were up on this high ground, you could have been like, that seems dangerous. You could have just hopped down, and then instead of going out here, which would have been dropping from high ground to here, you're in the open and they see you. So this is dangerous because they could call your location. So here you would go unspotted and then out here. That'd be, an alternative. Slightly slower, but a little bit safer. Or you can go and there's this mega here. And then if you wanted to be, or if you had to be out of the fight, you could end up in this same location. So you didn't put enough thought into where your initial position is and where you're going to want to end up. Now, none of these are really great routes, are they? So regardless of if we go here, we're in the open. They see us here. We want to transition back there, so they see us here. We're crossing in the open. There's no cover unless we're using a main tank. So our two options to rotate back to the arches suck ass. Now, if we take this one, we've got a mega. So, if they did see us on the high ground, they chase us, we're like, oh, I've got a mega. I've got a mega. I've got a cover. I've got a route of retreat. The problem with this route is that it's taking you out of the fight for way too long. Pretty much, if anything takes you out of the fight for more than 3 seconds. I want to say less, but at this level, probably more than 3 seconds is disastrous. Your Harmony is not providing anything for 3 seconds. Your Discord is not providing anything for 3 seconds. You're not providing any damage. You're not getting ult charge. Out of the fight for more than 3 seconds, I would consider a critical issue. And like not getting value in a fight for more than a second is probably an issue that needs to be addressed. Even if you can't get the maximum of that amount of value, you want to be always contributing something to the fight. And people are like, 3 seconds? Really, Jayne? You want to be contributing to a fight every possible second? Yes. Abso-fucking-lutely yes. Because it's the littlest bit of differences that really make or break the difference between winning in a game like this. And the fact that if you are 1 second late to getting a Harmony onto an Orisa, like if if the Orisa has to use Fortify to try and keep herself in armor, Fortify ends, and then she drops out of armor, and then you drop the Harmony on her, right? If she has expended Fortify because she wasn't getting your Harmony Orb, that's a resource that she wouldn't have had to otherwise invest. Now, she's out of her armor, you drop the Harmony Orb on her, and because your Harmony Orb was late, and it's not being attached to a target that has armor, your Harmony Orb is less effective, up to half as effective as if that Harmony Orb had been on the Orisa when she was full health. So not contributing the most amount of value that you possibly can at any moment in time is a mistake, absolutely. So I've told you that you did not have a good option, right? I've given you 3 options that you could have used as Zenyatta here, and none of them were correct. So my answer
Yeah.
to you is, what was the correct answer?
Not be there in the first place.
No.
Mm,
But yes, a potential answer, certainly, but that's the cop-out answer.
maybe go sooner on point with the rest of the team.
Say again, sorry?
Maybe go on point with the DPS.
That's
Like the first
certainly
one,
fine.
maybe?
Yes, you don't have to retreat to safety. You can retreat to your team. You don't have to use hard natural cover. You can use your main tank as cover. So that's an option. Yes, but I'm looking for one specific answer. Chat's already got it. If you were looking at Twitch chat, you would have seemed a lot smarter already. Because
Maybe stay here.
nope. Keep guessing. I want you. I really think why would staying here be a good idea? Like we could harmony with Discord and we could stay on the high ground and we could like use these angles. So yeah, like yeah, maybe you could definitely you would get more value out of this than you would rotating the long way around through the mega. But I'm looking for one specific answer.
Maybe I can get behind them and kill them.
Possible. I love the answers you're giving me. They're all possible.
That's not what you want.
No, it's not. It's absolutely not.
Hmm.
Think out loud. Think, what are the possible other solutions? Even if they're really shitty ideas, what are the other possible solutions that you have?
I think like I don't have too much option. Like stay with the tank, stay with the DPS, go on point.
You're getting so much closer. So what was the problem? We had our Hanzo down there, our McCree was like, I'm a McCree, and then he drops off. And then your Eros was like, oh yeah, I should rotate too. And then your Roadhog was like, oh, I should rotate too.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the path of rotation, it was the timing of it, right? They pushed up,
Yes.
they went to the left side, and when I'm talking about this being dangerous here, and crossing this being dangerous here, it is only dangerous if there are people there, right? If there's no one here, crossing from there to there is not a threat at all. It's not. There's nothing there that can shoot you. So there's two things that could have made this a lot better for your team. The first is scouting or recon, so seeing what they're running earlier.
Yes.
And then the second thing is, if you can communicate it, of course, call the fallback or whatnot. But if you see that they're running, especially a Lucio or something, you have no mobility, you don't have no vertical mobility, so you need to rotate to the safer locations earlier. So be aware of your routes in retreat and try and get the information on the opponent earlier so you can be in position faster. Now, there's other things going on in this fight that, like, there's a shit ton of errors in this first fight, and very, very few of them are yours. What was the error that was uniquely yours in this first fight? And I'll tab back into the video.
The timing.
Yeah, your entire team's timing sucked. So that was like the main group error.
Yeah.
But what issue was uniquely yours and you individually?
Maybe I should have called the Hanzo on the roof.
Well, you could have called it, yes.
On the top,
Let me watch it again.
behind.
Me.
I need to call for my Discord. Maybe Discord the tanks?
Did you see that?
Aiming?
Right here. It's this 10 seconds between the...
I'm going pushed too far?
Can you see the... Do you want me to turn screen share on?
Yes, because there is a delay and...
Okay, well, turn screen share on so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay.
Yes.
You should accept my friend request on Discord.
Um, where is it? Ah, here. Okay.
You accepted it?
Yes.
Okay, give me a second here. Call. Ring a ring.
Okay.
Okay, you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I want you to watch these 10 seconds of footage right here.
When I'm doing a 1v1 against the Hanzo,
Yes.
I should use the right click.
It's very simple. It's your actual mechanics of being able to land orbs on targets. I don't even know how many orbs you launched at that Hanzo, but you're missing a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you have the target. I believe you discord him. Yeah, you discord the Hanzo. That's fine, so you can actually get your damage. But then, do you hold down left click or do you fire each individual shot?
I think here I'm holding it.
So this is the problem, and it's very obvious. You can very obvious. Hey, look, the arrow's positive midair. It is very obvious when a person holds left click on a hero like a Zenyatta or a McCree. Very obvious, and the reason why it's very obvious is because of things like, and it's not just that you're missing. So chat, I saw one comment guy said that yeah, anybody's aim would look worse at 50% speed, but it's not that the aim would look worse. It's kind of like the technique of the aiming. So there's these shots right here. The next 3 shots are the ones that concern me. So there's this shot here, 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 4, 5. So there's about 5 shots that are nowhere even close to the Hanzo. And they're all at maximum rate of fire. So when I watched this the first time, I'm like, oh, he's holding left click, isn't he? So Zenyatta is one of the characters. Anything like the lower the rate of fire is on a character, the more you want to be precise with each and every single shot and placing your shots. It is way, way superior to have a lower rate of fire and a higher accuracy, especially when you're dealing with a projectile weapon like Zenyatta. You want to be placing those orbs in such a way that they will hit him. And this Hanzo is, Hanzos can change their momentum with lunge really, really well. So let's do this. So like Hanzo can be, ooh, that's interesting. Hanzo can be a bit of pain. Why is lunge disabled? Oh, I'm in the spawn room or something?
Redemption.
Oh, never mind. It's because I rebound shit while I was testing it. Jump is space. There we go. Okay, so Hanzo can be a pain in the dick to shoot because he can do things like this, where he jumps to the right and then lunges to the left. Like, he can be very evasive. So if you're trying to, like, shoot him at the top of his predictable trajectory, right, then he can be like, jokes, I'm actually this way. So he can juke you. He can juke you.
Yeah.
But he can only do this once every 4 seconds. The other thing is that Stormbow doesn't move him down or slow him down. So he can still fire his Stormbow very rapidly. But if he's drawing his arrow, his movement speed is reduced dramatically. If he jumps, he's following a predictable trajectory. So waiting for these moments, especially on Zenyatta or McCree, where you can either flick to the target or place a shot based on his movement. So as soon as he changes, the direction, you fire based on leading him in that moment. If he jumps, you fire him based on that moment. And if he jukes you, well, you couldn't have hit that shot anyway because it's impossible to predict. You basically force him to juke regardless. But yeah, especially if he's not in Stormbow, he gets the movement penalty. And some people, like, some Hanzos like to because it's... So, like, Hanzo still slows down. He's not like, what's a character? Lucio, for example. If you switch to speed song mid-air, you maintain your momentum until you touch the ground. But you can see here that if I'm jumping and drawing the arrow, my momentum is actually being crushed in midair. Right? So if a Hanzo can't jump, draw, and gain the advantage, it still destroys his momentum midair. So whether he's on the ground, he's slowed down. If he's jumping, he's making him really predictable. And you can just learn Hanzo's movements. And like all heroes will have different kind of ways that they move or ways that you can predict their moment, whether they jump. The only people who are like really, really, truly hard to hit, who are the people who have so many different options for their movement. Tracers and Genjis, right? Genji, after having jumped, let's switch to Genji and kind of demonstrate why they are hard to hit. Hanzo, not a hard character to hit because he's got predictable movement. It's a little bit less predictable now that he's got his lunge, but he can only do that so often. Whereas the thing with the Genji, he can jump, but then he can double jump at any moment in time. So he can double jump quickly, he can double jump later, he can chain his jump into a wall climb, he can double jump, then reflect, and then dash. He can do all of these things that can be very hard to predict, whereas a Hanzo doesn't have any of these factors. Tracer also can blink around you, forcing you to not only reacquire, but she's got a fucked up hitbox and a lot of really weird movement patterns. But a character like Hanzo, who has a lot of movements and not many options, all of which are predictable, those ones especially need to have placed aim. So each shot is aimed and purposeful. Even if your rate of fire overall is reduced by like 50% against a Hanzo, it is way, 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 way more beneficial for you to aim each and every shot. Each and every one. Just kind of like holding left click in the general direction of the opponent. Honestly, I am thoroughly fucking impressed you made it to Masters with this. Like, we talked about it yesterday. Was it yesterday we talked about it on stream? Where there are some people who are just mediocre. Or just they're average at most things. Or they're shit at most things. Or they're just kind of like pretty good at most things. They don't have a specialty. They don't have a deficiency in their gameplay. And the people who are just like generally mediocre are the people who are the hardest to coach. The people who have, one signature, you can teach them to play to their strengths, but you have a deficiency. And your deficiency, in my experience, should have prevented you from touching Masters. Absolutely should have prevented you from touching Masters. So you've got obviously some really good stuff about your play. But your mechanics are not anywhere close to what I would consider acceptable for a Master Zenyatta player. So,
Yeah.
we're going to look at this again. I want to look at this play again here. So, you've got screen share on, right?
Yes.
So let's try and look at the times where you could have shot here. So this right click is fine because, you're holding a right click while he's turning a corner. That's fine. That's fine here. Now he's walking to the left, so you could do one shot to the left. He jumps, he's behind a corner, that's fine. So you stop firing until he's going to walk, as soon as he starts walking around the corner, you fire the next one. So that's 2 shots that you could have done. Here he jumps, so you would have put a 3rd shot at the end of his jump. Then he's probably going to strafe back to the left. You can predict that because most people strafe left, strafe right, strafe left, strafe right. So if you shot right, you can immediately start predicting he's going to go to the left, so you shoot to the left. He's going to go behind cover, so he's going to strafe to the right next. This time he jumps, so you'd wait until you can identify his arc to shoot the next shot. He jumps and goes to the left. So this Hanzo is making it easy on you. He's doing left, right, and he's jumping. This Hanzo has the shittiest mechanics and movement in the world, and you're still missing him. Right? Left, right, now he's jumping you. He can't even hitting you with Stormbow. That guy's fucking plat, and you almost lost a duel to him.
Yeah.
So, especially, you need to, what is the... Honestly, probably deathmatch is the best way for you to learn this, because you need to play against people who have realistic movement patterns and actions. So you need to grind, if you search tryhard in the custom game browser, there's a list of, they're called tryhard free-for-alls, and they're always on Chateau, usually, and they have, all of the tanks disabled on them, so you don't have to face Brigitte, it's just only skill-based characters, and there's a ton of these games available. You need to, live in those deathmatch games for probably the next 2 or 3 weeks. because
Yeah.
you need to up your mechanical skill. It's holding you back significantly.
Actually, like in a deathmatch play, I'm not holding mouse click. I'm like shooting when I want to shoot,
Okay.
and
Well,
because of that,
I'm judging you based
I'm
on like 2 minutes of play, right?
yeah, sure. But I feel like I'm doing this from a certain distance. Like when I feel like I'm not able to touch the guy, I just spam it. And when I'm going closer, I'm more consistent with my shots. I take more time to shoot because
When you're
I'm
closer or when you're
confident
farther?
enough. When I'm closer, I take more time. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
like I'm more confident in my shot, so I take more time, and I know I can touch him.
Was
And
there
when I'm far away, I'm more spamming because I'm not confident enough in touching every shot.
was there a raid or something? Why are people spamming tryhard 7? What am I missing? You need a traductor. How you doing, attaboy? Oh, I said try hard. I miss these things sometimes. I was distracted there, but chat wants me to show you movement techniques for Zenyatta.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the two kind of. This is very basic stuff. And you'll have your own variant of this based on how you practice. But there's two kind of ways that you want to practice firing on Zenyatta. So the first thing is that it's two different rates of AD strafe, and there's this where you kind of AD shoot, AD shoot, AD shoot, kind of like this, and this is the lower rate of sorry that's the higher rate of fire one, whereas left, right, you strafe farther apart. Now, if you are going against a target like this, you do actually have to adjust your aim. So you're firing just before you change directions. And the other one, you can keep your crosshair in the same place, and then you kind of just strafe back into it every single time. So this can be used for corner peeking, as well as the big difference between these two aim styles is that if you're doing these longer strafes like this is better against projectile weapons because it moves your hitbox, farther apart. Whereas if you're doing like a very quick AD strafe like this, a projectile player only has to aim center of mass because a projectile player, like, it also has a hitbox itself. So a movement pattern, the faster it is, the better it is against hit scan. Unless it's like too fast, then you're not moving at all. You're just vibrating in place. So the kind of AD and then shoot is better against hit scan, and it's also better for corner peeking. So you can kind of shoot around corners like, oh my god, I haven't played Zen in forever. Like, you can do that kind of aiming style to shoot around corners.
Yeah.
But then if you are trying to like dodge a projectile, or if you're going against a Hanzo, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, and you shoot right before you change directions, so that you had the longest time to land up your shot, and then the change in motion doesn't throw off your aim, but it throws off his. So it's fire, shoot, almost instantaneously. So you only strafe in one direction long enough for you to line up your next shot. Bang, 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 and then if you are going against like a Widowmaker or something, faster strafe movement patterns like that. If you're a corner, boom, 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 something like that. So just some different Zen movement patterns and firing patterns that you can practice. I am out of practice on these patterns, but
Yeah, I will try to click instead of holding.
good. Yeah, painful to watch, honestly.
Yeah.
We can do this.
It did look like you had the correct actions in the close quarters, because it looked like you were actually thinking about landing the shots, but at mid to far range, you're just kind of like left clicking in their general direction.
Yes.
What?
Your fair is pissed. Well, this is very solo queue. Everyone's spread. This is unfortunate.
Yeah, here I was not.
In this sort of situation, whenever you are kind of find yourself in this situation as Zenyatta, flanking high grounds are fantastic. Oh my god, that was sick, dude.
Yeah, I was happy.
I can't do that. I've practiced that for hours, and I
Oh,
don't have the
sweet.
reaction speed. I do not have the reaction speed required to pull that off. So, I only knew one Zenyatta player. He was a Zenyatta, like a superstar player from Peru. He went by Dato or Toriel, and that guy could always pop trance before hammer hit. I don't have the reaction speed to do that. Very impressive here.
Yeah, it was. I didn't thought about it like it was real reaction on with the sound. And...
That was legitimately very impressive. So when we're talking about you had a deficiency, and I'm amazed that you were able to get to your rank based on your terrible mechanics.
Oh, we see.
Plays like that are what covers up your deficiencies. But if you do correct, the issues that you have, those plays like that where you stand out will really make you shine.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to work on the aim.
Kind discarded.
What's your sensitivity in DPI?
1000 DPI and 8 in game.
Do you have a very tiny mouse pad?
No, a big one. But I tried using a lower sensitivity, but I get lazy with my surroundings, so I'm not really aware.
How many
of
360s can you do?
I think I can do 1.5.
So you do have a tiny mouse pad.
It's like 40 centimeter. I don't know in inch.
40
much is that.
centimeters.
Yeah.
It's still 1'3". And you can only do, really? You can only do 1.5 360s.
I should go in the Overwatch client to check, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Okay.
8,000
No, I
is
don't
very
mind.
high. Like, it's not
yeah,
it's not unplayably high. Okay, so it's not unplayably high by any means.
Yeah. But I think I needed to get more awareness. Like if there is a Tracer or Genji, I need to check
Doesn't
more
really
often.
matter how aware you are if you can't hit anything.
Yeah.
At some point, you do actually need to shoot, like land your shots.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
considering
this is,
considering that we're looking at your mechanics being like if you had good mechanics and you were at 8,000 DPI, I'd be like, hey, that's pretty cool, dude. Pat, pat, pat. Good job. Keep it up. So,
Yeah.
of course, sensitivity and all that fun stuff, all your peripherals of personal preference, they're personal preference to the point at which they're hindering you, in which case somebody like me is going to tell you, no. Learn to supplement your awareness with other ways or other methods and drop your sensitivity so you can actually hit shit.
Yeah, there's time where I can click head a lot, It's not. I'm not consistent. So I can do. Yeah, two 360.
Yeah, so that's too high. That's too high. Like 1.5 360s is good because like the if you don't want to go, if we're talking about the best sensitivity in my opinion for the general user, it's based on their mouse pad. So you want to have the lowest sensitivity that you can handle on your mouse pad. And if you go exactly 360 from edge to edge of your mouse pad, then if your mouse is slightly off center and you need to flick 180 degrees to one direction, well, you're going to hit the edge of your mouse pad. So having like somewhere between 1 and 1.5 360s being capable on your mouse pad from edge to edge is a good thing, but I would never recommend a person being able to do more than 1.5 360s on their mouse pad.
Okay.
So, like, there's literally no reason why having 1.5 360s from edge to edge of your mouse pad would hinder your awareness. There's zero reason, unless you're
Yeah, I'll
lazy,
try
in
to
which
get
case
to
you,
one.
yeah. So like, you can do all the math later. There's sensitivity calculators out there, but one of the things I want you to change is your sensitivity and your DPI, and you can do that later.
Yeah.
You have your yeah. So I said general. If you have like 180 edge to edge, that's fine. But you're probably playing characters like McCree and Widowmaker. So this is like the best general statement. Like your sensitivity, your peripherals, those are all personal preference at the end of the day, unless they're actually hindering you.
Kind discarded.
Do you remember the holy trifecta of Zenyatta positioning?
Sorry, what?
What are the three things that I like Zenyatta players to care about in terms of their positioning?
Be next to their pillar.
Cover of some sort, yes.
Yeah, health pack.
Yes.
And escape route.
Yes. So where's your cover right now?
My cover is the distance.
Yeah, so what cover are you using right now?
I'm using the right wall.
Are you really using that wall for cover? Is that really cover?
No, I'm
if a tracer came at you from the right, I'm mirrored. If the tracer came at you from your right, or a Widowmaker ended up on that high ground, right over top of your Orisa.
Yeah. I'd be dead.
You would be dead. What would you do? You would die.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any health packs near you that you can use?
Left side, I think there is one.
There is, kinda, but if we use that left side
right
health
side
pack,
also.
we have no route of retreat.
Yeah.
So you try and have as many of those three as possible. Sometimes you only get two. Very, very few circumstances you're ever going to have one, but I would play farther back at the corner, so I still had the same sight lines, but it would give me cover as well as a route of retreat. So you can't just mindlessly play in the open like this. You're going to get destroyed by higher tier DPS players.
Okay.
Like, maybe the time to kill is still high enough that you can react and get support, but in the higher elos, being out of position means you are dead before you can react. You know, grapple shots, one clips, Genji combos, the time to kill on those will hit their theoretical minimum, and you'll just fucking die.
Nice.
And like whenever a person is in a position like this, like, do you see how you're on the low ground beneath a high ground position?
Yeah.
So if you really wanted to, what is the fastest way you could get to that high ground right now?
There's a stairs behind.
Yeah, there's stairs behind you. How many seconds would that take you out of the fight?
More than 3.
More than 3. That's a great answer. More than 3. Okay? Now, let's flip this around. If we were on the high ground right now, what is the fastest way that we could get to the position we're in right now?
Jumping.
Jumping. How long would that take?
Half a second.
Wow, gravity's slower than I remember it.
Yeah.
But you could transition from high ground to low ground basically instantly and not be out of the fight, right? But it would take you out of the fight in a long-ass time to transition from the low ground to the high ground.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always better to be on top. You have more options.
Same sight lines. Also, high ground acts as a cover, right? You can use the edge of the high ground as a cover. That's also fulfilling your positioning requirements.
Yeah.
I have 4.
Ooh, nice. Great trance. You do have good ultimates. Oh no. I don't think you're gonna get out of that. Oh no. You're being covered by your dragon though.
Nice.
So yeah, so far your positioning and your mechanics are the things that need the most work on Zenyatta.
Mm-hmm. Here I should get on top of the high ground with Steve.
You either want to be on the high ground on the left side or using one of the covers underneath this black arch here. But yeah, you're just in the open. You know, and they're running a Doomfist, and like the McCree, for example, isn't finding an angle where he can actually attack you. But like this position, right near this corner on the left side, would be better than just standing in the open. Are you gonna kill him? Your aim is better in close quarters, but at longer range, you need to put more thought into it.
Yeah.
So like at close range, it's do you play hit scan?
I play McCree.
Yeah, so you're
More better than Soldier.
yeah. I feel like you've just got less experience on projectile.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I love that. You've got really good control of your ultimates. The patience and the self-control to not ult there, I'm going to give you a big thumbs up for that. That was really good. I'm loving the thought you put into your ultimate usage, and I want you to put that much thought into your aim and your positioning.
Yeah.
Like here, you were just shooting the floor, like in the general direction of red people.
Yeah.
Ryan discarded. Very low.
Good angle here. No, not calling for
Maybe
help.
behind.
Oh, a little bit late on the call. You did make the call. It was a bit late, though. Trades. I think your Orissa's dead.
The outcome is not preordained.
It's too bad your Doomfist fed.
Guys, we need a monkey.
I was scared to be one shot here.
No, it's a good choice.
Stand up, right.
If you had been in a little bit of a safer position and had somebody else contest, you could have used your trance way later. But it was, again, your positioning that got you in trouble there.
Yeah.
You're one of the weakest characters in terms of like a 1v1. Like not,
Nice.
you're not
Okay.
super weak in a 1v1, but you're a glass cannon. You have huge effectiveness, but a nice circular hitbox. No movements, escapes, survivability tools. So you never want to be the first one, and even on the higher ranks, you don't even want to be giving away your position when you like in the higher elos when you're playing like dive, for example. The Zenyatta will like place his orb and then not show himself until after the dive has actually been executed, so that he basically forces the opponent, if they didn't have good scouting, to dive something that is not him. So your positioning and your mechanics by far are the things that need the most work, but you do have a lot of good things for you, especially the understanding of when and how to use your transcendence, which is, I assume, carrying you through these games along with your communication. Questions for me?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any?
Oh, I thought you had the question.
Hey, Kathy.
No, so far it's okay.
Cool. Well, that was, how long was that? I forgot to set the time, but I believe that was an hour, so I am going to end her there. But if you do have any questions, follow up, do let me know. I think it's time in the deathmatch for you. So, time in custom games, working on your mechanics and your matchups. and then when you're
Mhm.
in game, more thought to your positioning. And like you can achieve the same sightlines you have by either moving yourself to the high ground, and even if in some cases moving yourself to the high ground will also give you more value while keeping you safe. But even if you don't have a high ground position, just farther back, you don't have fall off. You still are within Discord and Harmony orb range, and it'll just make you safer and give you better routes.
Mm.
Okay,
Is it better to get on the high ground alone if the team is below, or
it
is it
depends. If the
better to stay
opponent
with
is
the
not,
team?
if the opponent is not running characters with vertical contest, like so, if you had an Orisa Diva, no, or an Orisa
Mhm.
Roadhog, and the opponent was running dive, no. But if they're
Okay.
running Ryan Zarya, yes, very much yes, because then the Ryan Zarya can't get you.
And if they have a Pharah?
If they have a Pharah, then as long as you have high ground cover or the ability to retreat to someone, then yes. Like if you can retreat indoors where the Pharah can't chase you, that's good. If you can retreat to your team, if you can retreat to a health pack, you can be there, play the angles. It's very situational if they have a Pharah, whether or not you'd want to be on the high ground or not. Because even if you're on the low ground, right, the Pharah's aerial superiority will just allow her to find you regardless of where you are. So high ground
Mhm.
with cover is better than low ground without, etc., etc.
Mhm. Yeah.
Any final questions?
No, I'll take more time to think about where I stand
Okay, and
and what
is
I
your
should.
computer good enough to push your FPS past 60?
Yeah, I did that for the record, but I'm usually at 150.
Oh, okay, so maybe that also
Because
impacted your aim.
I have a 144 hertz monitor. So yeah.
Hopefully I didn't ride you too hard.